The Gambia Center for Victims of Human Rights Violation held a press conference earlier on Friday, the 22nd of April 2022, regarding the nomination of Fabakary Tombong Jatta and Seedy Njie. They asked a question of why President Adama Barrow nominated these two individuals who are perpetrators, and further said that they are really concerned about the TRRC white paper as of now.
And he's now brought back as the speaker. And of course, Seedy Njie, we all know what he has did in past. He was also a minister briefly during the Yaya Jammeh era. He is also brought back as the deputy speaker of the National Assembly. Yes, of course, it's a concern for the victims. Why is it a concern? Because we are very, very worried that perhaps the TRRC report and recommendation that is currently on the table of the president, whether they are going to issue a very comprehensive white paper that would satisfy the victims. So that is why we are worried. Worried because in the sense that Fabakary, all of you, some of the journalists have interviewed him recently, and he said he has always kicked against the TRRC report. We know when the TRRC was in progress, he said he is not in agreement with the TRRC, and he still have the belief that Yaya Jammeh did not cause any atrocities. So that is worrying, because if you have that kind of a person who is mindset on that in terms of still supporting Yaya Jammeh, and you bring him back as a speaker, he would not support anything that would have to go against Yaya Jammeh, especially when it comes to the TRRC recommendation.
Seedy Njie, Board of Director for the Gambia Victims Center of Human Rights Violation, read a letter that was addressed by the Victims Center to the President of the Republic of the Gambia, showing how disappointed they are about the nomination of Fabakary Tombong Jatta and Seedy Njie, who played a leading role in strengthening dictatorship on Jammeh's regime as lawmakers.
Mr. President, it is with deep shock and a painful feeling of betrayal that the Gambia Center for Victims of Human Rights Violations, known as the Victim Center, came to learn of your nomination of Fabakary Tombong Jatta and Seedy Njie as members of the National Assembly. Even worse is to realize that you have identified them to be the Speaker and Deputy Speaker, which came to pass on the first day of sitting of the 6th Legislature on 14th April 2022. We are hugely concerned with your nomination of these two individuals, as they do not only represent the brutal dictatorship the country endured for 22 years, but they were also key pillars of the power behind the tyranny of former President Yaya Jammeh. Since 1997, Fabakary was a member of the National Assembly until 2017, half of which period he served as the majority leader under the APRC ticket. Together with Seedy and the rest of the APRC NAMs, these two individuals played a leading role in strengthening dictatorship as lawmakers failed to provide constitutional oversight as well as legal reforms necessary to prevent perpetrators of human rights violations under the APRC regime.
He further read that Barrow has been neglecting the victims since he stepped into office in January 2017, and that they were only given a chance once to see him, which was in 2018.
To mention the atrocities of any form of remorse, care, and concern for the victims. While we express our concern and disappointment with your decision, we are, however, not surprised. Since assuming office in January 2017, the victims' community has always found it difficult to receive your attention and sympathy. It is only once that they visited you at State House in 2018. As we live with that feeling of neglect by you, we watch with even bitter shock how you went further to forge an alliance with the APRC. Not only did you refuse to disclose the terms of that alliance to the public, but you also went further to visit Jammeh's family home in Kanilai. What we could deduce, therefore, is that you abandoned victims and embraced perpetrators when it was those victims that gave you the presidency and commitment to transitional justice and care for victims. Mr. President, in your heart of hearts, do you truly believe your decision to nominate these two individuals is in the best interest of the Gambia? Are you willing and bold enough to invite the mothers of the victims of April 10 and 11, or the children of Vera Haidara, Haruna Jame, Solo Sandeng, and the families of Ibu Job and Mahmoud Sise, among other victims, to face them to justify this decision? Have you taken time to reflect on why and how you became president of the Gambia? The past from which the Gambia came, and what were the aspirations of the people as they voted for you?
He ended the message by saying that they will spare no efforts to see that their objectives are being met.
That Fabakary and Seedy Njie should rather face justice for negligence of duty which cost lives and not to reward them, hence entrenching. As we register our disappointment and disagreement with your decision, we wish to emphasize that we remain committed to the Transitional Justice Program and hereby urge you to ensure that the TRRC report recommendations are effectively implemented in transparent, inclusive, and efficient manner. We will spare no effort to ensure that these objectives are met. In the service of the nation, I remain signed Sheriff Mohammed Kijara, Chairman, Board of Directors, Victim Center.
Some of the victims that attended the press conference also gave out speeches and saw their disappointment on the nomination of Fabakary.
I label them as circumstantial perpetrators. If they are doing their acts behind, we may not be knowing that. But these people came out. When Barrow was elected, Fabakary was the one who ordered or who took the bill to the House for them to implement 90 days emergency period. Those moments, so many people suffered, those who are trying to vacate the Gambia. Moreover, Seedy Njie, who was telling the nation over the media that Barrow must not swear in the Gambia. I was very much disappointed when TRRC was set up till the end of it without seeing Adama Barrow on the other side and Seedy Njie at the other side. The nation wanted to hear from Seedy.
I was nominated while I was detained in the prison. But I was a detainee and not a convict, so I was nominated as a candidate, and I contested the election in prison and won while I was in prison. So I also was a parliamentarian. I happened to be the minority leader, and Fabakary was the majority leader for Jamme. So it is very surprising for President Adama Barrow to take this decision to appoint such a person who is to answer so many questions as these human rights violations are concerned.
Stated by them that they will be having a peaceful demonstration to the National Assembly for Fabakary Tombong Jatta and Seedy Njie to resign. For N24 News, I am Mariama Cesar.